Have you ever noticed that a football field looks very similar to a number line? And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about how it's a lot of things in the real world that you can use a number line to make more understanding of. Now, let's get started with our lesson. Today, we will be graphing the inequality statements on a number line to represent the possible solution. Now, I want to go over two misconceptions. You have one, which is a closed face dot, which means that the value is included on the number line. If you have an open face dot, it means the value is not included on the number line. And this is what we'll be doing. We'll be graphing the inequality. Now, the way that we can tell if it's going to be a closed face dot or open face dot all depends on the inequality sign. Less than or equal to or greater than or equal to will always demand a closed face dot. Now, we have just less than or greater than, it will be an open dot because that value would not be included in the possible solutions. Now, these are the steps that we'll be following today to answer our questions. We will have an inequality and we will identify the operations which is occurring, identify what operation is occurring with the variable. Then we will determine the inverse operation of the operation from step one. Then we will complete the inverse operation on both sides of the inequality by isolating the variable. And then we'll make sure that our variable is isolated by itself. And we'll place this on the number line. And we can even go back and check our work by putting our solution in for our variable and seeing if it's correct. Let's get started. First, all I want to do is simply identify the operations that's going on in our problem. We have negative 3x is greater than or equal to negative 24. Well, when I look at it, I see that my coefficient and my variable are side by side. That means that they're multiplying. So our answer will be multiplication. Now we got to determine what is the inverse of multiplying. What is the inverse of multiplication? It is division. So our next step, we're going to use the inverse on both sides. That means we're going to divide negative 3 on both sides of the inequality sign. Now, one thing you have to remember is when you're multiplying and dividing inequality sign, why does the inequality sign flip? Now, y'all, the only time the inequality sign will ever flip is if you're multiplying each side by a negative number. Now, for example, on this particular problem, they are dividing both sides by a negative 2. This would make the inequality sign have to flip over. So whenever you multiply each side or divide each side by a negative number, to isolate the variable, you have to flip your inequality sign. Let's get back to the problem. So when we isolate our variable, we knew that negative 3 would go into negative 3 one time, which left us with a positive x. Negative 3 would go into negative 24 8 times, which gave us a positive 8. However, we divided both sides by a negative, so we had to flip the inequality. All right, now how do we graph this on the number line? Okay, if we look at this, if our answer is x is greater than or equal to 3, we would have a closed face dot. And if you notice which way our inequality sign is pointed, it's the same way that our arrow or our shaded section is going. Next, we have x is less than or equal to 3. We have a shaded in dot, and our arrow is going in the same direction as our inequality sign, letting us know that 3 is going to be, our possible solution is going to be equal to 3 or less than 3. Now, when we go down to x is x is greater than 3, we have an open face dot, and all values are shaded in that are greater than 3. Now we have x is less than 3. We have an open face dot, all values are shaded in that are less than 3. It's that simple. We're not going to make it complicated. Now I want to plot our solution. So I know we have a solution of x is less than or equal to 8. So the first thing I want to do is make sure I understand that it's going to be an open face or a closed face circle. We have 8 is less than or equal to, therefore it is closed face. Now I'm going to shade in all of the possible values or possible solutions that are less than 8. Here I have graphed an inequality showing x is less than or equal to 8. My possible solution would be true. And I'd like to thank you. Please move on to the rest of the lesson, and please pay attention to the inequality signs. Do not make any minor mistakes. Thank you. Have a good day.